I've seen so often here at Hillsong, and you may not believe it, but so often here at Hillsong, the people who are the most skilled are not the people in the positions that you see. Those people learn the skills and we teach them the skills. First of all, we find people with excellent character.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to receive Dan. He's a Hillsong drummer from Hillsong Young and Free. Dan, thank you so much to be here. And please, I want to ask you, tell me about your job in Hillsong and Free.
It's a good question. I suppose the backstory, if you'd have it, would be that, I just grew up at our campus here where I live, here in Australia, in a place called Newcastle, which is just really close to Sydney. And I still go there with my family and we love going there. My friends are there, my family's there. It's awesome. And I've just always loved serving at church, and I'm musical. So I play some guitar and I play some drums and stuff like that. But I'm also technical. So I like mixing the sound and being involved with some lighting and stuff like that as well. So I just really enjoy both the excellence in production and music that we can bring to the church, but I also love friends and family and worshiping together and stuff like that. And so for me, Hillsong, it's a beautiful church. It's a great example of that. And I love going. And so, leading from that, so I kind of just went there for a very long time with my family and then got this amazing opportunity to lead the technical department at the campus that I went to here in Newcastle. So I did that for a few years and that was excellent. Had a great team, still a great team here in Newcastle. And that was excellent. And then really out of the blue, to a certain extent, I just got asked if I'd like to come along and participate in one of our tours. And actually in our conversation before this, you were saying that you went to, in 2018, a night in Dallas, a There Is More night. And I was there. That was actually my first ever tour, which is pretty cool, right? And so we both got to experience it. And so I was there and I was just helping, I didn't know, I hadn't been on tours before. So I was just doing whatever I'd been asked to do and just trying to help it be a successful night. And so that was awesome. And it was cool to see some of America and some other parts of the world and, see some of my family in other parts of the world who were worshiping. And so that was really cool. And then from that, I actually got offered a full-time opportunity to be a part of our touring team that we just work on touring to different parts of the world, to different corners of the world, and just bringing music and bringing worship to people who will have us, basically. And so did that for maybe a year to 2 years. And then coronavirus came upon us. And now I'm at home talking to you. So, that's the backstory. I work with, a little more detail, I work with all three of our bands. So we have a band called Hillsong Worship, and their main focus is crafting worship music to sing at church. And Hillsong United, who were just birthed out of a youth ministry, some time ago, and they create music which has a certain feel and a certain tone to it. And then Hillsong Young and Free, who I have a soft spot for. And I love those guys, and they're our current youth ministry band, and they make some really fun poppy music that you could hear on the radio and you'd love it, and you could dance to it. So I love it.
Wow, thank you, N.Notley. And wow, you have some amazing background. Hillsong is so amazing worship. So tell me, what three advice do you want to give for worship leaders?
Wow. Okay, great question. Well, I'm just going to give advice from my experience, right? So from my experience, if the intention is to be a worship leader, one thing we always say in our church at Hillsong is that no matter what part you play, if you're volunteering or if you're a part of the team, we're all worship leaders. Cool? And so if you're doing the sound, or if you're playing drums, or if you're playing guitar, or if you're leading the vocals, or if you're leading where we're going in worship, you're all worship leaders. And we all take responsibility for what the service is, where the service is going, and leading the congregation or our friends and our family, right? So I would say, if you want to be a successful worship leader, I would just submit to what you've been given. And so if what's in your hands right now is some friends and family in your house because you're locked down and you can't go out, and then do everything you can to lead those people in worship, or if what you've been given right now is a small community church with a couple of hundred people, and that's what you've been given, and that's what you need to steward or look after, then do that as best as you can. And then I would say that if you look after the little, it's a biblical principle, right? If you look after the little and you steward the little well, then God will give you more. And so don't chase the more, just focus on stewarding well with what you have and allow the more to come. So if that's, if one day you'd love to sing on a big stage with lots of people, it's fun. There's energy and there's beautiful presence of God. And I understand that, but don't focus on that. Focus on what you have right now. Focus on what you can do now to impact the people who are around you right now. So that's what I would say. A little bit of advice, just my experience.
Wow. Do you have many other advice for people?
More advice. Okay. I would say just be authentic. Everyone's on a journey, and we don't need to pretend that we've completed the journey and we're exactly where we need to be. We're not all perfect. No one's perfect, actually. And so I would say just be real and honest with where you are on the journey. Have people who alongside you who you can do the journey with closely, and you can be honest with, and you can share things that you're struggling with or you need advice with, and work on character. Don't focus on being charismatic. Don't focus on having the best vocals. Don't focus on being the best guitarist. Focus on you as a person, building your character, building your relationship with God, your biblical knowledge, your theological knowledge. Focus on the core basis of why we do what we do, and allow the practical stuff to come. I've seen so often here at Hillsong, and you may not believe it, but so often here at Hillsong, the people who are the most skilled are not the people in the positions that you see. Those people learn the skills, and we teach them the skills. First of all, we find people with excellent character.
Wow.
And first of all, we find people with a willingness to serve and like a soft heart. And then we just teach them the skills, or they learn the skills, or, and so I would say, just be real with the journey, be real with who you are and your faith, and don't get a big head, if you want to say it in a quick sentence, don't get a big head about it all, and so, yeah, that's what I would say.
Well, thank you so much. And I want to share about some interesting things that you have been learning with Hillsong culture that really impacted you.
That's a good question. Jeez, man, you got some great questions. Okay, what have I learned? I would say something that we focus on, or something that I've learned to love, is excellence. So if we're talking about practicalities now for a moment, I would say taking what you have practically. So let's say that I want to be the best sound operator at church. Also taking that seriously and saying, well, okay, if I want to impact the people that I'm with right now, what can I do practically to upskill myself and always bring a level of excellence? Excellence, the difference between, so something I've learned is the difference between excellence and perfection is key. So we're not going after perfection, because perfection is when you're aspiring too heavily towards, or you're just focusing on something that's way into the future. You're focusing on, I want our stuff to look like those people, or I want this to be as good as that. But they're different journeys. They're different people. They're different organizations. Whatever. The key is, don't worry about perfection. Focus on excellence. That's something that I've learned. And so what it is focusing on what can you do, or what do you have control over, and what can you do to do what you're doing as best as you possibly can in that situation. If you're a singer, do you need to learn all the lyrics? Do you need to learn the harmonies and the melodies? If you're the drummer, do you need to actually learn the actual rhythms that are played in the song before you go and then change them and make it into something of your own. Like maybe you need to spend some time at home practicing, it's obviously an obvious one. So I guess something that I've learned, the difference between perfection and excellence. And that's something that we focused on at Hillsong as well. When we have these people, or when we are working with people with soft spirits and of good character, it's at that point we go, okay, what can we do practically to bring a level of excellence that is worthy of worship for God and for our congregation and for our friends and family. And so, yeah, I mean, we definitely don't nail it ever constantly, but we just do our best.
Wow. Yeah, so how do you, Hillsong have some amazing worship songs, and I have been touched around the world and also in my city, Fortaleza. How do you manage to compose and create a super amazing songs? Your music is really amazing, bro. How do you do that? You give some tips to people compose songs like.
All right, let me say this. First of all, I don't write any songs. So I'm not going to pretend that I do, but I'm around the culture and I do understand key elements of it. So let me share that with you. So I would say, first of all, it comes out of relationship and collaboration. So this is really practical. I've never seen, and you can look at this yourself, if you go onto the back of a CD or if you go onto iTunes or Apple Music or whatever you listen to your music on, the collaboration is key. When we're writing songs, or when the team that writes songs, not myself, when the team that writes songs write their songs, it's always collaborative. It's always out of relationship. So it's me and these two guys, or me and this girl and this guy and this person. We all are going to come together and we're going to talk about a biblical principle that we want to base a song on first. So it might be talking about love. That's an obvious one. We're going to write a song about love. And we're going to flesh that out. We're going to talk about some concepts. We're going to have a roundtable conversation. And then we're going to write some lyrics. We're going to bounce some ideas off each other. And then we're going to sit down with someone who's musical. So we call those people producers. And so we're going to sit down with a producer and we go, hey, we've got some melodies and we've got some lyrics. What could we do with this to make a song out of it? And then that person comes in and they help craft the actual musicality of the song. And then once we've got a song, then we go to a mix engineer and we say, hey, we've got a relationship with this mix engineer. And we say, hey, we've got this song. Can you mix it? This is what we want it to sound like. Can you make it sound like this? Goes back and forth and there's relationships. So I think the key learning from that would be that everything we do is collaborative. And the way we can do that is that not one person thinks that they have the ability to craft a perfect song from start to finish, if that makes sense. Yeah. But we do think that within what we do, with the groups of people that we have, the amazing talent that we have, that we're blessed to have, through that collaboration and through the unity that's created through working together, speaking about biblical principles and music and mixing and technicalities and everything, we can craft beautiful songs. And so that's how it's done. And it's often just naturally, like at times when we are like set on recording an album at a particular time, then we'll create opportunities for that. We will, have people all come together on certain days and they'll split up into groups and write songs. Or in down times, people will just go and hang out at people's houses and they'll write songs. And so my suggestion from what I can see from where I sit, maybe one of the biggest elements that we have is just collaboration. And maybe sometimes people have a closed-handed view on their songwriting. Maybe new songwriters are a bit nervous about sharing their ideas. But I suppose I would say from my experience, find some people who you trust and maybe just take a step of faith and share some ideas with someone. And you might see something come from that that's far greater than you could have done by yourself. So yeah, that's just an idea.
Wow. And tell me something that you have been since 2018 in Hillsong tours, and tell me some experience, something that really impacted you or that you learned in these tours?
Okay, I would say one of the most. Okay, I'll give you two, and they're two very different ones. Okay, so one of the most impacting tours that I was a part of was a tour at the end of 2019, November 2019, and it was with a band called Casting Crowns and Hillsong Worship and Elevation Worship.
Wow.
Okay, so the three bands were doing a tour around America, and I remember most nights when Hillsong Worship was doing their song, or when we were doing our set, our worship, there'd be a moment in the middle of the set. Ooh, I can't remember the song. It was an older song. So it was a classic song. Everyone kind of knew it in the congregation when we'd sung it. And it might have even been like Hosanna or something, just like a really old classic song. And there was a few times where Brooke, who leads Hillsong Worship as the lead worship leader or the lead singer, she would at times give moments for prayer. So she would, get something out in her book that she'd been thinking about that day, or a scripture or a word over the congregation that she'd been praying on that day, and she'd speak it out. And there were moments where she would have people come down from the congregation and say, "Hey, I feel like someone just needs to come and pray for this." And you're talking about an audience in a basketball arena in America, right? So this is crazy. So you're talking, I don't know, what, 5,000 people, and she has the faith and she has the guts, and it's very impressive. Brooke is very cool. To have people come up and pray into the mic over certain things, and some of those moments, the rawness of it, I guess, is the key. Was very impacting, and I greatly enjoyed being a part of that. Second one, again, very different. So Hillsong United have been a part of us as Hillsong Church for a really long time. And there was this one moment at the end of last year, or maybe mid through last year, where we played at Madison Square Garden in New York. And that was just amazing. Like, to sell that place out as as a Christian church band is insane. And so I was very proud moment.
Wow. And do you have a 1-minute message for the worship leaders?
I do. So three tips, or 3 steps, not steps. Steps is weird. This isn't a program. So in Proverbs, it says, and this is really simple, but it's something that hopefully is relevant to the season we're in. So in Proverbs, I've got it written here. In Proverbs, it says, in their hearts, humans plan their course, right? But the Lord establishes their steps. So humans plan the course, and the Lord establishes their steps. So what does that mean? So that's number 1. What does it mean? Number 2, it means we plan. So it's saying we need to make a plan. We can't just be sitting around hoping that something happens. So like what you're doing is a great example. So you're running We Love Pastors, and you're doing events once or twice a month, I think you said, and you're making a plan. You're not just sitting at home waiting for something to fall into your lap, right? So my encouragement would be, make a plan. Learn a new skill, seek something, seek a new verse in the Bible, or a new book in the Bible that you're going to study. Seek something new, make a plan, take a step, and then submit to God's guidance, or submit to the Lord's guidance when he establishes those steps. So it's as if, imagine you're taking a step with your leg, and you're planning to move this way, but God, he has control of your leg, and he can kind of guide you in the right direction, right? But he can't guide you unless you've got momentum. So take a step, get momentum, allow God to guide you to where you should go. That's it. Simple.
Wow.
1 minute.
To finish the next question out, how do you manage your emotional? You are in the tools, and I feel like a sense of famous. You're famous. The Hillsong is famous, and how do you manage these emotions to not do some too really focus in the important things. How do you do that?
Do you mean like when we're traveling?
Yeah, when you're traveling, being in the Hillsong church, Hillsong team, how do the team, how the staff manage the emotions to not, some pride rising in the team?
Oh, okay. I understand. Yep, I understand the question. I would say it's just a culture. Like, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, like, first of all, having people a part of the team who have a soft spirit initially. So not bringing people in who already have tendencies leading towards pride or have issues with that. That'd be number one. But then number two, every person can get a little bit of a big head or pride or whatever you want to say. And so I would say, just in the way that we converse with each other, the way that our team, no matter what position you play within our team, the conversation is respectful, and it's open and it's real. And I would say that that conversation, those green room moments, those, prayer together, everything like that, no levels of you're this, I'm that, whatever. We're just doing this together. It's a team. We're all playing on a soccer team, and some people are a little bit more forward in the field and they're the strikers. And at times it might look a little more glamorous, but if you don't have a goalkeeper or if you don't have a defense team, then the team's going to lose. And if everyone's aware of that, then there's a level of respect that doesn't allow people to get big heads and prideful. And I'd say if that ever did happen, there'd be a pretty real conversation about, hey, bro, like that's not really the culture we have. We don't have the culture of this person are something awesome. So sometimes, unfortunately, other people kind of give that perception outside of our worlds, and they'll kind of like worship the people. But yeah, not us.
Wow. N.Notley,
Well,
thank you so much. I really appreciate it.